me do a proper intro,
Okay.
since we've already just been chatting like old buds over here. You know us, me and Derral. So here he is, Derral Eves, the founder of Vid Summit, which is the reason we're all here this weekend. The 5th annual Vid Summit. It's my first. Thanks for the invite the other 4 years, jerk. Anyway, no, just kidding.
You got to just pay to come. I didn't give you a ticket.
I know. No, this has been hugely valuable.
Yeah.
Like, I felt this way after CVX Live and even more so here. You walk away from this thing motivated.
Yeah.
You're excited. You're talking to like-minded people. You're like, oh, yeah, we have a great job or a career. I mean, we're changing people's lives. We're on the cutting edge of what's happening in technology and communication. You forget that sometimes, I think.
Yeah. Like
how cool this actually is. I know that it happens for me.
Do you know what we forget about is the impact that we have? And there's a story that happened to me that I want to share because I think it's very relevant for you personally, but it's also relevant for creators that sometimes lose sight of the power that they wield. But when I was 12 years old, my idol is my grandfather. Like God put him on the earth for me, and I'm so indebted to him. Like I'm so eternally indebted to him. Like he's the only person that could actually communicate with me. I wasn't a rebellious teen, but I hated my parents. And it wasn't I hated them. It was just we were so much alike. They didn't know how to communicate, and I didn't know how to communicate, so it was a very awkward situation. But Grandpa could always like connect. And when I was 12, he lived actually just down the road, but there's a different scout trip. He was a scoutmaster for like 40 some odd years. And he's like, hey, why don't you come on the scout trip? We can go camping and you can hang out with Grandpa. And I'm like, dude, this is great. This is what I love, right? And so I got to go camping twice in a month instead of just once, right? And once with Grandpa. And I remember falling asleep, and then I get a knock on the tent. It was like 4 in the morning. He's like, Derral, get up. We're going to go for a walk. And I'm like, it's 4 in the morning. Like, well, I just went to sleep like an hour ago.
This is where you learned your no sleep thing.
Exactly. He goes, no, there's something really, really, really important I want to teach you. And my grandfather, like, I would do anything for him. Like, seriously, anything for him. Anything he wanted. So I got, okay, let's do it. So even being 12 years old, I was still groggy in the morning, you know, trying to wake up. And, we stayed up really late because that's what you do at, you know, on campouts or whatever. And we started to walk around, and we were at a lake, and we were just going to walk around the whole thing. And right about 5:20 is when the sun started to peer over. So it was we were looking down, and it was Zion National Park. You could see that, and the sun was just about ready to come up and over. And he goes, and he didn't say much between then. And he goes, Derral, I want to teach you the most important thing that I can teach you in this life. And he goes, he picks up a stone, and he goes, you're like this rock. And I'm like, wow, okay, where's he going to go with this? Like I'm hard-headed, like, you know, whatever. And he goes, look over this reservoir here. It's peaceful, right? And it was just glass. It was just perfect glass, right? And the sun started to beam over Zion National Park. It was just the most beautiful, serene thing that you could ever see. And he has that rock, and he throws it, and it goes in the middle of that glass, that pond, and it makes an impact. And then you see the ripple effect, that ripple effect. And then he looked at me, he goes, you're that rock. That reservoir is the world. You've seen the effect of what that rock can have on a reservoir. What impact are you going to have on the world? Is it going to be good, or is it going to be bad? And then he just walked off. Now, for me at 12 years old, that was so weird. Right. First off, I'm like, whoa, Grandma, that's whatever. But it wasn't until later in life that moment stuck with me, that I started to think, what impact am I really going to have? And this is what I reached out to not too long ago. But Shay, you've had a positive impact upon the world, my friend.
Thank you. You
really have. And sometimes in life, we forget about the true ripple effect. Like, we're disruptors. Like, we literally have disrupted this world. Like, you and I personally have disrupted this world in different ways. But it's the impact on people's lives that has changed. And so from your perspective, sometimes it's too hard because you're literally in the pond, you're in the reservoir, and you don't see the ripples going out. But you look at every family that you touch, your own community, the whole Shaytard family, right? But you also look about the creators that you actually inspired. Like, you inspired people to be independent. And how? You're being vulnerable. You're like, say, look, I'm willing to share with you my inner thoughts, and this community gathered around you. But what happened after that, and this is what I really respect from both you and your wife and your family, it's like you owned it. And after that, people really saw, oh my goodness, I could be like them.
Yeah.
You know, I could be a creator. I could make this a living, because you made it possible to make it a living. I don't think you realize how much of an effect you had on this on the whole YouTube or the whole YouTube community.
Because when people tell me that, like, well, you flipped it on me, Derral. You're gonna make me cry and feel emotional. I didn't think we were gonna talk about this. It's hard to hear things like that sometimes, because you almost feel prideful, being like, yeah, I have done all that, you know. But it's like remembering that, and I think that really comes across in the face-to-face.
Yeah.
I mean, you did text me a couple weeks ago, and that meant a lot to me, like just reaching out to me like that. And you said, because I actually needed that text that day.
I know you did. That's why I texted you.
And you said you had this feeling, and you just go with those feelings. You don't ask questions. And that was a good text for me to receive at that time. So I appreciate it. It's funny that we came here to talk about tools for creators, but it seems like this is the important stuff. This is
like tools for creators amplifying things, right? Tools and platforms amplify. But the reality is this is what you started, and I won't say just you, there's more people like Devin Graham and Jeffrey Harmon, and you have all these people that in their own little way created an impact, right? They totally created an impact. And that ripple effect's happening. What platforms like Social Bluebook does is it enhances. It helps their lifestyle become better. It's like, because sometimes when you, like your first brand deal, you're probably like, hey, $100 is great, right?
Yeah.
When you could have said, oh, $10,000 is pretty great, but you had no idea. And it's just like, you know, leveraging that and understanding that's so much better, so much more powerful.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, man. And we've had the opportunity to work together through the years.
Absolutely.
And I think ditto to you. I mean, conferences like this, to bring this caliber of influencers all together, there's something so much more powerful than each of their individual, you know, power to influence.
Right.
There's just some magic that happens when you get creators together. We keep saying the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Right.
1 + 1 = 4. Not 2. It's like, for some reason, when these type of people, these influencers get together, it does literally have the effect to change the world.
It does.
And I mean, whatever religion you belong to or whatever, it's like, to me, that's the interesting stuff to talk about. Like, really, who cares? I mean, we need money. We need money to pay for things and to sustain our lives and to go to the grocery store and to experience cool things and stuff. But at the end of the day, and I think that's kind of what happened to me with my addiction and all the stuff that happened to me, is really I kind of felt like I achieved everything that I had dreamed about when I was a kid. It's like, I want to have a nice house. I want to be the guy in the
I want to own the ski resort.
Well, I didn't plan that. Did not plan that. But I remember, like, Ron Campbell was my Elders Quorum leader. And I remember, like, we would go on these high adventures, and he was the guy that had the Winnebago and the water ski boat. And I was like, I want to be like Ron Campbell. Like, he was like this Renaissance man that he had all these great stories, and he just had all these toys. He's like, jet skis, here's the gas, here's the water skis, just go have fun. I was like, that's what I want to be, like that guy. So, you know, when we had all this success on YouTube and the sky was open as far as opportunities, and we sold the company to Disney, and it was like, I had like achieved more than I'd ever imagined. I'm like, now what? Like, what do I do now? Like, I have to recalibrate my goals, but I really hit this wall of, like, hopelessness, of like lack of purpose. I was like, what do I do now? And I think because I wasn't seeing the effect that I had on people, I was looking at it more of like, you know, somebody earlier referred to it as a view validation. It's like you're looking at your views to make yourself feel better. It's like I had lost sight of all that. And what I wanted to do the answer to me was, I want to start talking about eternal things.
Yeah.
Where do we go after we die?
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about the one problem that our species has never solved, death? And maybe somebody has solved that, and his name is Jesus.
That's right.
Can we talk about that?
I'm making a TV series about that
yes,
right now.
And I got a cameo, I heard. I hope, yes.
We'll see if the director, I'm like, we'll see.
Matthew sent a video.
Matthew will tell you anything.
I know. For some reason, I feel like he's going to get his way, though. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see.
He's
but
funny.
I think that the point is, you validated something for me, because I could see that you're so sucked into what this is in the world and everything that you lost perspective on the most important things.
Right.
And we all do that. Like, at the end of the day, we all do it. But if you're not motivated by becoming, Ron Campbell. Ron Campbell.
Yeah.
If you're not, motivated by that, but you're motivated more by, how can I create change? Mm-hmm. How can I disrupt the world to be more in line with what I think the world needs to be? Then you're always motivated. And to me, I can tell you right now, I am not motivated by money. That's the least of my worries. But money comes
because you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, and I know my gift. Like, I know my gift. I was given it to at a young age. My gift is I can see potential in people, whether you call it light or whatever that may be. And I'm a good light amplifier. Like I'm meant to go on Earth and help people that are given certain talents and abilities, and I'm helping them amplify their light. And that's what I'm good at. I'm good behind the scenes. I'm a good guy. I understand the dynamics. I understand the human nature and so on and so forth. But I'm meant, personally, on Earth, to help the world be a better place, because there's so much crap content out there.
Yeah.
But if I help people that have good, clean content that my kids will want to watch and my grandkids will want to watch, that, and they're being a good role model, then I'm going to help amplify that. It's like there's two brothers that to this day, like, they are so good personal friends. When they're with my kids, like, this means so much to me. It's like they're best friends. Yeah. Like, they treat them so well and so kind, and they invited us out 4th of July dinner and the whole weekend. But they treat them like they are the superstars, my kids. Yeah. And yet here they get hundreds and hundreds of millions of views, a month. Yeah. But they're so grounded on the things that are truly important, and that's that relationship. And I think that's what we're doing here today, is like really, strengthening that. Yeah. So.
Well, I have loved Vid Summit. I've seen a lot of old friends here. In fact, there was a guy in here earlier named Christopher Mass that I haven't seen in 10 years. Wow. That I knew from YouTube. I was like, it was this like blow away moment, like, what are you doing? So, I mean, you definitely are a light amplifier. I'm going to call you that.
Is that my new term?
Derral the Light Amplifier Eves.
I should have kept it on the down low, right?
A light that is hid under a bushel. What's that scripture in the New Testament? Well, you kind of got me at a loss for words.
I stole the thunder or whatever it is.
You did.
I didn't even know what we were doing. I didn't even record it. We're just having a conversation.
No, this is exactly what it is.
I thought that's what we were going to do before we start.
That's exactly what it is. And to me, that's what I want Social Bluebook to become. I want Social Bluebook to become a guild of like-minded people who want to do exactly what you said. Yeah. Disrupt the world, help be the change that you want to see in the world, right? Or what is that saying? Be the change you want to see in the world?
It is, and it is so great, because like for me, one thing that most people don't know, they say, oh, I see your YouTube videos. Well, you don't really see my YouTube videos. We own a lot of different channels, and we do things that no one knows that we own. But there was a time that it was just like last week, but we had a brand reach out, and they're like, hey, we want to do a brand deal with you. We want to go from there. This is what happens. I'm like, oh, I represent, said creator. I'm Derral Eves. Oh, yeah. But it's my channel, right? And so anyway, what did I do? I go to Social Bluebook, and I'm like, this channel doesn't necessarily, it's not tied to it, but we're getting a ton of views, ton of stuff. Let's just go ahead and see where our valuation is for, a dedicated video. Where is it, just for a shout out. Yeah. And so I actually went through the process of that, and I go, okay, knowing Social Bluebook, because they're pretty dang accurate on where it should be within industry. And I think a lot of industry professionals are now using Social Bluebook to know how to validate and what it's going to be.
Justify paying for these social creators. Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just add an extra, percentage, there just because I just want to know where that's at. So I actually submitted it. It was a little bit higher than what they recommended to do in Social Bluebook. And what did they reply back? The exact price with Social Bluebook. I guarantee you.
So they went and looked at Social Bluebook. No, this is what you're worth.
But
that's funny.
But what was really interesting is they went with the higher percentages.
Yeah.
We see that you actually have higher engagement on the people that we want. We want to test it out, and we can even go higher if it works for us. Because
Right.
that's what it's at. But we at least had a baseline
to start, a negotiation point
and
to start out with.
And that's what I love about Social Bluebook. I've been an advocate for it. I wouldn't say from day one, but pretty dang close. Just because creators need control.
Right.
And the more that they give control out to other people, it's like putting like your whole risk and your whole life in someone else's hands, and no one's going to really take care of it like you.
Like you would.
And
That's so keep going.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So that alone of just knowing, hey, we have a system that we trust with Social Bluebook. You can bring someone in to help, but it's just like, no, you'll know where you're at.
Yeah, with the software.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was talking to Jeremy of J House Vlogs, and he expressed a large frustration with agencies because they're just taking really whatever they want, and they're paying the creator what the creator will take.
Yep.
The idea with Social Bluebook is that software can replace some of those people, so you don't have to give away as much of your livelihood and stuff like that.
Look, at the end of the day, it's like lifestyle and freeing up your life. It all comes back down to is what do you really want to work for? Like there's people that want to take every little cent that you have and trying to get you out there in front of the world, and you're working more harder and longer and whatever. But ultimately, software and where the future is going, you don't need a middleman. Right. You just need to know, is there an offer? Is there someone that would be interested in it? What I like about the approach is, and this is more from my agency side. I own an agency. When I want to find a creator I don't even know about, I can find them.
Right.
And I can find them using Social Bluebook, and I can say, oh, these are the creators that I want to work with. Instead of the creator trying to, oh, I want to work with you, the other way. Right. But it's going both ways, and it's a place to discover new creators. Like I don't even know the total number of creators. I just know that it's just you guys are just starting to.
I think there's like 150,000 plus that have signed into the software so far. So, I mean, I know that we're coming to the end of Vid Summit, the 5th year.
We haven't even talked about Vid Summit, right?
What are the plans for the 6th annual? Are you going to do it here too? Or?
I don't. We're going to do it in LA. I don't know if we're going to do it at this venue or not.
Yeah.
We're getting a little bit bigger, but I don't want it to be massive.
Right.
We had 1,300 people here. We're going to cap it at 1,300. It wasn't too overwhelming. I don't know, from my perspective.
It seemed great. No, this is different than a lot of the conventions I've been at, where it's just like, these are all of like my colleagues. Like everybody, I'm like, oh, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so. I know him from that, and he works with them, and it's a really cool like fabric of people that are in the industry in different ways.
But there's a couple things that's really interesting is you have creators that are helping creators, and they're the ones that are presenting, right? Mm-hmm. And then the people that are presenting go back in, go sit in the audience, and they're going to learn from somebody else that was sitting in the audience before.
Yeah, we were sitting in classes all day yesterday, and it's like some of these people who are presenting, it's like I knew when they started their channels. Yep. And now they're up here presenting to these because they've become experts. They've learned this. So.
So, and something else is different. It's like creator helping creator. When one speaker comes in, they're more getting to get the audience because they're going to learn from somebody else that's there. And so I love it. There's another reason why I love it. It's like a place where creators can actually be themselves and not have to perform.
Right.
When there's a fan element to it, then they feel like, oh, I got to be on, I got to do this. And there's so much energy that is zapped out of that creator that they can't do what they're meant to do here at the Vid Summit.
I feel like Gary Vee spoke differently at this place than I've seen in all of his videos. Yeah. It was way more like conversational.
Absolutely.
He was just talking to the audience. Exactly. Where other videos I've seen, he's like yelling at, like, do it, but Yeah, I could tell there was less.
And he wanted to come back. Like we had him last year, and he's like, "I need to come back. I want to come back. This is like this was an amazing conference, and is an amazing conference." There's one other element, and this is a really, really important element because I truly believe in culture, creating a culture, and sometimes you can lose that culture if you make the wrong decisions, and it can spiral and change. And I think you can understand that from what you started Maker and what it actually became and what Disney made it, right?
Yep.
That first original culture that you had, it should be the most precious thing.
You got to protect that.
That's the most precious thing of an organization. There's a culture here, and I think you feel it. I think this is the first year you can feel it. It's different than other conferences, but the culture is this. Can you be transparent with me, and I can be transparent with you? Are you willing to share strategies with me? Because I'm willing to share strategies with you.
Right.
And we've literally taken out the clicks. Like when you create an industry lounge or some private group,
green room,
VIP whatever,
room.
you just literally separated that culture.
Yep.
And so you'll never find it at Vid Summit as long as I own it. It's like there's just no way that we will have that because people, you never know who you're sitting by. Like this was no exaggeration. I was at a YouTube event. I'm not going to name it or anything like that. And there was a guy there that no one knew. I knew because I'd done consults with him and so on and so forth. And super smart. And people were treating him very poorly because they had no idea who he was.
Right. And
it wasn't until I had enough and let them know that everyone in this room didn't get more views than this guy did, that was going to change. And then it's when everything flipped around. And they're like, oh my gosh.
Isn't that weird how people can do that where they're like, oh, that's a nobody. And I was like, wait a minute. No, he gets all these views. Oh, really?
Almost a billion views a month. And it's like, how is that possible? Like here at this conference, I can guarantee you, no one knows that like the number 2 most viewed channel in the world is here, and they're 30 million subscribers, a billion views a month, and no one probably even knows unless they ask, hey, what do you do?
Right.
Make
YouTube videos.
Yeah, and it's so massive. I mean, it's just they make a ton of money and they have a ton of strategy, and they're like the smartest people in the industry. But you never know that unless you find out.
What's that old saying? I can tell you who you are by the way you treat somebody that can't do anything for you.
Exactly.
Or something like that. It's just like how do you treat somebody that has absolutely zero chance to help your life at all? Like that's the real I think measurement of a person. Well, listen, Vid Summit. This is the place you need to be if you're a creator, if you want to be a creator. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm still learning things. We sat in the classes all day yesterday and gained very valuable information. You missed it this year if you're not at it, but the 6th annual Vid Summit is coming up. Be sure to get your tickets now. Start planning on it. Because I talked to already like 2 people here that last year was their first year, and now they're full-time creators.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're doing this full-time for a
amazing.
job.
And one other thing, and I want to end it on this. The biggest waste of my time is a panel. You'll never, ever.
Catch you on a panel?
There will never be panels like we have.
Okay.
It's just like, the thing about it is like lack of preparation. We're here about strategy, tactics, and changing the world.
Well, that should be easy.
Yeah.
Derral Eves, everybody. I'll put the link below to all of his social medias. He has like 1,200 channels, so we'll have to pick a few of them. But Vid Summit, if you're a creator, check it out. Let's hear it from the live studio audience for the founder of Vid Summit, Derral Eves!
Hey.